In the last decade, fascination with Oscar dressing may have outstripped interest in the Oscars themselves. It's what we remember the morning after, and possibly sometimes years after that, because not all Oscar dresses are created the same. So we're going to look at the ones that we remember, because they shocked, because they intrigued, because they were odd, weird, or maybe just plain beautiful.
At the Pantages Theater in
If there is one dress that's considered to be the classic, ultimate Oscar dress, the template for Oscar dresses of all time, it's Edith's Head aquamarine strapless gown that she designed for Grace Kelly in 1955, when Grace won the Oscar for the Country Girl. It's very simple, very classic, and has been knocked off so many times. It's been the inspiration for Ralph Lauren when he designed the pink satin dress for Gwyneth Paltrow when she won the Academy Award for Shakespeare in Love. Kim Basinger wore a copy of the dress done by Escada in 1977 when she wore her Oscar. The odd thing about the dress is the reason why we know the dress so well is not because of the photograph that was taken on Oscar night. Oddly enough, Grace wore the dress 3 times, which would be unheard of in this day and age. She wore it to the opening of The Country Girl, she wore it to the Oscar night when she won the Oscar, and she also wore it in the studios of Philippe Halsman, who photographed her in that now very famous photo for Life magazine. If you look at the pink sequin tank dress that Gwyneth Paltrow wore to the Oscars in 1996, it looks familiar, wonderful, lovely, but why the big deal? Because in 1996, people were dressing big for the Oscars. Big dresses, lots of embroidery, lots of finery, boom, remember, booming economy, booming dresses. Here comes this willowy, beautiful blonde woman nobody really knows well, basically is Brad Pitt's girlfriend, and shows up in a dress of such simplicity, such ease, such sort of lanky sexuality, she suddenly made everybody look old. And the tank dress suddenly became the kind of gown a cool girl would wear. Everybody knows the name Prada these days. It is a fashion global blockbuster. But in 1995, it was the company that made nylon knapsacks with the triangle label. How do you change that image? How do you make people realize you're also a fashion house? Oscar night. Uma Thurman, 1995, like a lavender angel coming down the red carpet, all in gazar and chiffon, willowy. The dress, oddly enough, wasn't really designed by Miuccia Prada. Nevertheless, that was the label in the dress. Uma was at her most statuesque, most beautiful, most exotic. She was on every cover the next day, and suddenly the House of Prada was a fashion house. What are the Oscars missing these days? Cher. It's really that simple. We long for a woman who has that sense of flamboyance, the spectacular, the humor, the wit, the in-your-face drama that Cher just embodied when she walked down that red carpet. Never better than in 1986. In 1986, Cher had a breakthrough performance in the film Mask, but she didn't get nominated for an Academy Award, and she was ticked. And it was also the same year that Edith Head, the great costume designer, had issued a sort of dress code that one should dress as befitting an Oscar nominee or presenter, which naturally prompted Cher to show up in a black, huge mohawk, a bare midriff, a cut bikini top, and black sheer sequins going all the way down. Bob Mackie designed it for her, and when she put it on, he said, "Oh no, you're really not going to wear that," and she said, "Damn right I am."
As you can see, I did receive my Academy booklet on how to dress like a serious actress.
The myth is that the Oscars is the biggest fashion show in the world. Not true. When we go to a fashion show, what we're looking for is innovation, fresh ideas, new concepts. The red carpet is really about familiar glamour. The glamour that we're used to, the glamour that we were brought up with from the movies. Do something odd, do something different, something tilted just a little bit, and viewers get shocked, they get weirded out about it. Never more so than when Tilda Swinton, who doesn't look, sound, or move like anybody else, showed up at the Oscars in an asymmetrical, one-shoulder, black velvet gown from Alber from Lanvin. The asymmetry, the drape, the cassock-like quality of this dress was totally unlike anybody else. It wasn't body conscious, it had ridiculous fluidity. She has that translucent skin, that short cropped Titian hair. There was this huge diamond cuff on one hand and then nothing else. It just threw everyone off balance. They loved it, they hated it, they didn't know what to do. There were people crying that Alber was going to get fired from the house of Lanvin. Nothing's in fashion, nothing's more shocking than the new. It takes us a while to get used to the fact that somebody wore an extraordinary dress named Tilda Swinton. I'm never usually a fan of black dresses because I think they sort of fade into the woodwork. It's a safe place to go. But Chloë Sevigny wore what I think may be one of the most elegant, beautiful, classic Oscar dresses of all time. It's black, but there are yards and yards and yards of black silk jersey running behind her. When she moved, it was like she created her own train, her own parade. The dress has so much modern elegance to it, it's extraordinary. The irony is that the dress was designed by Elbaz when he was at Yves Saint Laurent. And unfortunately, 2 months after this, Alber was fired. Nothing ticked off the new house of ISL more than the fact that Chloë Sevigny's dress by Alber wound up on best dress lists everywhere, including in style. It was actually called the Dress of the Year at the end of that year. Much is made about the impact that a dress, the right dress on the Oscars, will have on a design house. But sometimes we overlook the impact it might have on a little-known actress wearing a fantastic gown. Keira Knightly, we all know now, is a great beauty, but in 2006 she wasn't very well known. And then at the Oscars, she wore a burgundy taffeta gown, a ball gown, an extraordinary coronation-worthy ball gown by Vera Wang, with an Indian-inspired diamond and turquoise and ruby choker necklace. The impact was incredible. It was almost the same as if she had released a blockbuster movie that Friday before the Oscars, because the next morning it was one of those cases of who's that girl and we gotta find her, and Keira Knightley's career just took a huge leap forward. She will tell you on the red carpet, she will tell you while she's talking to David Letterman, Ellen, anyone who will listen. Julia Roberts is not a girly girl, but in 2001 she was highly favored to win the Oscar for Erin Brockovich. And it was almost as if she said, you know something, okay, I'll give it one good shot. And she did. It was a dress from Valentino's 1982 collection of blue velvet with white satin stripes. Julia suddenly looked elegant, regal, did her hair up in a series of top knots. You will never see a hairdo that complicated on her again, and looked picture perfect for that moment in posterity of her holding the Oscar for all time. There was one year where Valentino did 5, maybe 6 dresses. It all changed in 2005. Cate Blanchett was a favorite to win Best Supporting Actress for The Aviator. Few women in Hollywood, few women anywhere are as distinctive looking as Cate Blanchett. She moves like a queen, she just radiates intelligence. She went to Valentino and asked if he would create a gown for her, couture gown, one-of-a-kind gown. They did it in pale yellow just to match her hair, and guaranteeing the designer that she would wear it. The only caveat was she would be the only person wearing Valentino that night. And she was. All you need is the right woman, and even better, if she's a winner. And Cate was on both counts, and the amount of press that Valentino got from that one yellow burgundy sash gown beat any 5 B actresses wearing another one. Nicole Kidman is on the cover of this year's March fashion issue of In Style. But in 1997, she was basically known as Tom Cruise's wife. She had had 12 movies, none of which were a blockbuster or breakout hit. She was that tall, beautiful, Titian-haired woman who stood next to Tom. Until Oscar night of 1997, when she arrived on the red carpet in a dress the likes of which no one had ever seen before. Number 1, it was Haute Couture by John Galliano from the house of Dior. Number 2, it was all designed in chinoiserie. Incredible embroidery that took 200 hours, beating on the back like a spider had got caught in a crystal maze. But what that dress did was they created a new image. They upped the bar because they took an haute couture dress and put it on the red carpet. And today, the ultimate gold ring for any star is to be big enough to qualify to wear a one-of-a-kind haute couture gown at a major awards ceremony. At the unripe age of 23, we now know that Jennifer Lawrence can play high drama, low comedy. She can be the victim, she can be the superhero. There seems to be nothing she can't do. But in 2011, she only had one film that we had seen to her credit, and that was Winter's Bone, where she played a gritty mountain girl, basically in jeans and flannels and anoraks, and then she showed up at the Oscars in 2011 in a fire engine, body-hugging, red jersey Calvin Klein collection gown. We talk about her being as the woman on fire in Hunger Games, but she was on fire that night at Oscar night, and suddenly she was the girl of the hour. Didn't matter whether she won or not. She was the woman on everybody's lips the next morning.